So it's March in Colorado and it's snowing balls outside. Last weekend I got a sunburn while practicing out at the range. I'm clearly not going to be out at the range while it's snowing like this. So I figured I'd come in and take this apart. We don't get these very often anymore. We've been selling them since they first came out. This thing sold as soon as it hit the wall. I don't think we had it on the wall for sale for an hour. I was really hoping to get a hold of this gun this weekend so that we could take it apart and spec it out. Fortunately, the person who bought it was willing to allow me to take it apart and spec it out. He's a fan of the channel and he watches the videos. So I got it for the weekend. This is my one shot, so we're going to take it apart and look at it. I will tell you right up front, I have played with the Geissele Super Duties quite a bit. Since they first came out, we've been playing with their parts and the guns themselves. I am a huge fan of them. I think that when they first came out, had some issues. Some very minor issues. More importantly, the upper to lower fit was super sloppy. And people told them that. And they listened. And that's one of the huge benefactors, one of the huge indicators that a company is doing really well when they pay attention to what their customers are telling them and saying, "Matt, this upper to lower fit is too sloppy, it can be better." And they fixed it. We'll look at this one. So we'll look at the upper to lower fit. There's a little bit of wobble in there, but it's really, really tight. Okay. Second, I have another video, it's very short, on my channel that talks about this piece. I am not a fan of this piece. Not because I don't like it or I don't think it works, although the initial ones did break. They fixed that too. I am not a fan of this because quite literally, if they would have taken that much of that paddle off, it wouldn't block this pin. I know, everybody's like, "Oh, that's stupid. You can use a smaller pin." If you put lateral pressure on this pin and you damage the anodizing in that hole, you're damaging your serialized item because of a fucking bolt catch. That is stupid. So it's really it's a manufacturing fail that they didn't take that into account. When I work on these, I take this piece off before I push this pin out every single time so that I can make sure that I'm putting as little lateral stress as possible on the anodizing on this lower. It's just one of those little things that really annoys me when I see stuff like that. Other than that, it's a great part. I think that they paid attention to people when they made these. Might be a little bit bigger than it needs to be. I'd like to see this piece off and I'd like to see this trimmed, and it would be, in my opinion, a really good bolt catch. Anyway, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can talk about all of the rest of the rifle. So let's take it apart. This is a 13.5-inch handguard. Okay, it's a 14.5-inch barrel with a pinned flash hider on here. Get you over here a little bit. There you go. So Surefire flash hider. It has been timed with Surefire shims, and then there's a weld underneath. This is a Geissele cold hammer forged chrome lined barrel. It's a mid-length gas system, government profile. The gas block is made by Geissele. I know, shocking, right? Upper and lower made by Geissele. Bolt catch, trigger, safety selector, handle, charging handle, bolt carrier group. Everything's made by Geissele except for maybe the stock. The stock is a B5 SOP mod. But everything else is essentially proprietary. This is an extremely proprietary gun. One of the most proprietary aspects of this firearm is right here. If you look right here, let me see if I can tilt this forward a little bit better. Okay. If you see that, there is basically a key slot from the handguard to the upper right here. That is an extremely strong mounting system. And that means that you are not twisting this handguard loose. Okay? But it also means if you absolutely hate that handguard, or if you want to change it to something other than one that has a key on it like this, well, you're going to have a big, huge divot in the top of your handguard like that. That is the downfall of proprietary parts. Proprietary parts can be extremely beneficial, and they can make certain aspects of the firearm work extremely well, but they don't have the flexibility to be changed out very fast with something else and still look correct. But that's kind of the evolution of firearms. The more proprietary parts we see, the more people adopt specific types of proprietary cuts and holding devices and modifications like M-lock and QD mount. You see guns get better. Anyway, enough of that. Let's take the handguard off and check all the specs underneath there. Oh my god, okay, so the rear one's done. Holy fucking shit. God damn, dude. Okay, so I have applied heat and also impact, and I cannot get that bolt to come out yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not a small lad. I'm over 235 pounds and I go to the gym every morning and I twist on screws every day. That is excessive amounts of torque. All right. So, if you don't know this, some actual screwdriver handles like this will fit a flathead wrench like that. So I think I got it. I put a little bit of oil of wintergreen on the threads. It's better than WD-40, by the way. Okay. Wow, dude, that's cray, bro. So they appeared to have put some sort of paint on all of these surfaces, like witness paint for the screws to see if they came loose or if something moved, which is kind of interesting. I don't know that helps in any way. Looks like they only put it on the one side. Interesting. You can see that there's a little pin right there above my thumbnail. That's the index, the gas block to the barrel, which is super cool in my opinion. Yeah, I know, use the word super. I don't like the cast gas block. I wish it was 4140, but it's nice and light, or not necessarily light, but small. So the ones that they used to use were pretty big. So this is, once again, they're listening and improving. So the barrel nut, it's aluminum, it's nice and long, gives a lots of rigid strength to the handguard. Of course I dropped it. Why would I not drop it? So those are torqued. It feels like they have some sort of retainer on them. What that retainer is, I can't tell. They do not have any of the teeth on the end like I like to see. All right, let me go find that other screw. Found it. I ain't gonna lie, They don't want this fucker to come apart ever, which is a good thing. But boy, I tell you what, it makes maintenance hard. Let's see if I can get this gas block off. This gas block has 2 screws and a cross pin and then a center lateral pin to keep it straight. And I'm heating it up to see if I can get it to expand enough to come off. There may be some sort of Loctite or Rockset or something. Probably Loctite in there holding it in place. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we can get it off or not. All right. Oh yeah. Green Loctite. Let me see. See if I can get you in there or not. Yeah, you can see it right there on the block, right there where my thumb is. See that little stuff right there? That's green Loctite. That is a bedding compound. So it was bedded in place. So it needed to be heated up, and when I reinstall it, I will redo that. But holy bejesus, dude. That fucker did not want to come off. All right, let me get the pin set. We'll pin that port, see how big it is. Okay, mid-length 5.56 Geissele cold hammer forged chrome line barrel. It is a 0.75 gas port. It's right there in spec. Pretty decent. Some people would say 0.72 is better. I don't know. I think 0.72 to 0.76 you're probably fine in a mid-length like this. Okay, so I got it all set up here. It is at, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's at 35 foot-pounds. Okay, it's more than 35. Let's roll on down the road. 45. Okay, so that was really close to popping over. So it's probably in the 43 to 44 range. I'd give it a 45 rating, which I think that's exactly what they spec these at. Let me look it up. Okay, I looked it up. I'm pretty sure it's 40 foot-pounds, somewhere in the 40 to 45 range, which means it is in the correct range. Let's see what we have here. We have, that is Aeroshell 64 is what that is. Yep, Aeroshell 64. Yes, I can smell it. Ooh, that came out easy. Okay. So, when I put this back together, I will bed this into the upper. There's oil in there, but it's fairly loose fitting. And I will bed that for the customer and make sure that this fit is as tight as possible. I'd have rather seen them bed this and not bed this. This is going to fill up with carbon. This right here will affect your accuracy. So I will bed this and make sure that our customer gets the most accurate firearm that I can give him when he picks this up. So I do like to see this. So this is a cross pin that they cut at the factory. These are dimples. I really like dimples, at least the one on the opposite side of the gas hole, because now you really can't screw up lining up your gas port. This thing has like everything that you could possibly do to make this gas block not move whatsoever. It may be, well, it's overkill. Let's not even call it maybe. It's definitely overkill. I like this attribute. I like that it automatically is going to line it up. The dimple hole is kind of irrelevant at that point with the cross pin. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's definitely some work to make sure that that gas block is perfecto. Then again, they didn't bed that in there. I don't get it. Let's see, feed ramps. Feed ramps look pretty good. They look nice and aligned. They're smooth-ish. They haven't been polished to a high sheen. Most ARs don't need that. They definitely need to be lined up properly, though, and these are. It doesn't look like there's any overhang on them. They're recessed a little bit, which is what you want to see. So that's good. The upper itself, 7075 T6 forged. It looks like Type 3 anodizing. I'm not exactly sure whose anodizing it is or what level. You can see that there's a notch cut out on the top there for the handguard. So, pretty decent. Okay, Colorado Drug Scale of Truth. 13.2 ounces. There's no barrel nut in there. The screws don't come out. They actually are held in place with detents, which is very cool. I like that. But this is a heavy handguard. If you're looking for lightweight, this isn't it. Is it rigid? You bet. I confess I have 2 of these, and I use them on firearms competitively because they are so rigid. Because, you know, sometimes you gotta smack a dude. Sometimes. All right, so let's look at the lower a little bit. I'm back a little bit further so you can see that the trigger bow right here is called the lightning trigger or the lightning bow. It's essentially kind of a combination of a flat and a round. It's kind of in the middle. It's interesting. It's got a lot more material on the back, and it's an SSAE X. And why is it an X? Well, here, let me show you. It is, if you look right there, the disconnector, that's the silver piece right here, is thicker than normal, okay? That is the government profile that they make for disconnector, and it makes it stronger, supposedly. Ironically, I don't think that you need to make a Geissele disconnector stronger. These are all through hardened parts. So, I mean, they're basically bulletproof as it is. But they made it stronger. 90-degree ambidextrous throw. It comes with an H2 buffer. H2 buffer. And it comes with their super slinky tube buffer spring thingy. Yeah, see, it's got these twisted coils here. I don't know. I don't know that they're good. I don't know that they're bad. They feel weird, okay? They don't have the same buffer spring capability or feel. It feels more like a SIG recoil spring. Oh, look, those are braided wires too. Little bit of machine shatter on the inside of the buffer tube. Yeah, it's not perfectly smooth. I don't know. I haven't seen good on anything better than these from these. I haven't seen anything worse from them either. So much ado about nothing, I think is what it is. H2. It's very nice to see a gun come with an actual weighted buffer properly. I think this gun could probably get away with an H1. Even with the can on it, H2 might run a little bit better with the can on it. So they really kind of set it up to run suppressed. It does have, let's see if I can get it right here. It has square notch staking, and it has one over here on the other side too. Let me see if I can grab it and rotate it for you. See it? So it's double staked with fancy Colt square staking, right? It is a mil-spec buffer tube. And if you look, you can see that first one, maybe, like that right there, it's vented. So you have vented holes in the bottom of the buffer tube. I like to see that. I'm not going to undo the staking here. It is not a QD mount in plate. It's like the only thing that they maybe missed on this whole thing. Everything else, the parts look really good. But most of the parts are made by them. Let me set this back down again. So this is knurled. Okay, it's called knurling. Right there. Okay, checkering. Same thing here. These are both knurled / checkered. Okay, so they're definitely grabby. The detents feel correct, so they're not sloppy. The pins aren't sloppy. We'll spec all of those out, and I'll see if any of the holes are weird size or not. Okay, 35 inch-pounds. That's a pass. I'm specking out the rest. Clearly I have everything out. I'm specking out the rest of the bolt too. All right, so that's the firing pin. Let's see if I can do this on camera. Hear that click? It is just barely touching the firing pin on max. Just barely touching it. Is that a fail? I don't know. If I had a fancy micrometer and I can get in there and check it, it is definitely quite a bit of protrusion. Interesting. I don't know that it would necessarily cause any problems while shooting, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not the worst either. So high pressure, mag particle tested. It has a nickel boron, nickel Teflon coated extractor. I mean, if anything, I'd like to see it manganese phosphate. So the extractor claw on the inside right here is grabbing the brass, and it's holding onto the brass until the ejector kicks it out during the extraction expulsion series of events. So having something that's supposed to have frictional grabbing capability with a slippery coating on it doesn't make a lot of sense. They work, but I mean, I don't know why they coated it. It's kind of weird. So it comes with a donut, a copper extractor spring, and then an inner buffer, and then the donut. That's weird. So typically these copper ones, they're in there just like that. But I'm gonna put this donut back on, and if it works, it works. I don't have a gauge for this, but it feels the correct size. I checked it with a case off camera and it worked. No sloppiness, no excessive sharp edges. Here's something interesting. This is the cam pin. The cam pin is marked, let's see if I can get it, which direction it's going, and the inside, the cam pin cut right there. I don't know if you can see this on camera or not. Let me see if I can get it on there. There is a groove cut in there for this proprietary cam pin. So the upper is proprietary and the cam pin is proprietary. Will a regular one work in this? Probably, but they are proprietary, and this one's coated and it's kind of square. I checked all the dimensions out, gas key, the 3 different dimensions internally, compared them to the bolt carrier group. It's pretty efficient when it comes to dimensions. I didn't see a whole lot of slop in the dimensions. This is not chrome lined on the inside, nor is this. I checked the staking earlier. It passed 35 inch-pounds. Overall fairly nice. Is a little bit of chatter on it, but not too bad. I've seen way worse out there on the planet. .40 foot-pounds. So I'll use red Loctite on these screws. I'll put the pin back into the gas block right there on the bottom, and then we'll put the gas tube back in. All right, I have it all back together. I made the changes that I talked about previously. What are the final thoughts on this? Well, the pros, it has really good specs. When I spec'd it out and measured out all of the materials in here, it was very tight. The tolerances were within where they should be. Very, very well made parts and components. The assembly is very good. The gas block is probably what I would consider overkill assembly, but hey, it's a failure point. It's not going to fail on this gun. That is definite. These were excessively tight. I fixed that when I put it back together on this, but holy crap, dude. Back off on the torque on these a little bit. So the materials that they used, they're all really good materials. They didn't skimp out on any of the materials on the gun. It is a plug-and-play firearm. You pull this out of the box, put an optic on it or some sort of sighting system, load up a mag and go shoot it. It is really nice, but at the same time, you're going to pay for it. So cons, there's a lot of proprietary parts in this gun. Some of the proprietary parts, or most of the proprietary parts, are very nice. They're very well made with really good materials, good specs. But I don't like the cam pin. The cam pin's a wear item. It should be something that's easily replaced as you have wear on it. I don't know where to buy a Geissele aftermarket cam pin to replace it once you get wear on this cam pin, except for Geissele. My wholesalers don't carry it, so I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to call Geissele and you're going to get another cam pin when it wears. How fast is it going to wear? I don't know. I don't have enough rounds down range with one of these, and I don't have any customers who have had enough rounds down range for me to see the actual wear on a cam pin and see how fast they're wearing out. They may be so good that they last the entire life of the bolt and barrel. That's probably about 25,000 rounds. I doubt it. I've never seen a cam pin take that much wear. They really do need to be replaced a lot more regularly than the barrel and the bolt. So that's a problem in my opinion. I don't think it's a terminal problem. It's just something Geissele may have to address. I don't like the mag catch. End of story. And I don't really like the grip angle. So this is way too far back. I prefer it more vertical. I also prefer a palm swell back here. I have medium-sized male hands. And for me to not have a grip swell here means I have to manipulate my finger to get it onto the trigger properly. It's just dumb. Put a different grip on this. or redesign your grip. It's just, this angle is really bad too. No human holds that gun that way. This gun is $1975 MSRP. I took the time to pull equivalent or equitable or equal parts out of our system and put together a build, and it was 2015. So, you know, it's a little bit cheaper than if we built it with all the same parts. The reality is they're probably getting these parts a lot cheaper because they're getting more of them. But when you look at the price, you're like, oh my God, it's a $2,000 AR. Kind of makes sense. The cost of the parts, just wholesale individually, are actually more than if you bought the whole gun itself, and that's typically what we see in the AR world. So this is a great product. These are very good firearms. All of the ones that we've sold, we've never had come back with any mechanical problems whatsoever. They just run. Unfortunately, they haven't been around long enough for us to see somebody burn out a barrel and a bolt, you know, run it to the point to where it's not shooting accurately anymore. Hopefully we'll see that in the future and we can get a little bit more feedback. But as it stands, this is an amazing product, and yeah, you're going to pay for an amazing product, but you're going to get one too.